Hello, and welcome to our Wellbeing at Work podcast series. My name is Bianca Bowie, and I am the Ambassador Program Manager here at Workplace Options. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Vonnie Moodley and Lorene Lacey. Both have played vital roles in assisting in different aspects of the Ambassador Program, including being long-term facilitators for our Ambassador training sessions, as well as assisting with the screenings of possible ambassadors and the ongoing peer support sessions for those ambassadors. Lorene Lacey has more than 25 years of experience as a mental health clinician working with employee assistance programs, family services, and wellness education. She served as Workplace Options Director of Global Crisis Response, overseeing the Global Crisis Support Services, providing clinical consultations to managers in areas of addiction, trauma, stress management, and depression and anxiety. In addition, she has been a requested trainer in the areas of employee wellness, concentrating in stress management, resilience, trauma, mental health, and peer support. Vonnie Moodley has 32 years of global experience, including 8 years as a consultant and trainer with Workplace Options. Her experience encompasses materials development and training interventions for leaders, managers, executives, and employees. She has experience in 30 countries and 4 islands. She empowers leaders and managers with skills on mental wellness, recognize and response to needs, engage in appropriate interventions, and build resilience within the workforce. Her areas of expertise include training of mental health ambassadors, optimizing productivity, change management, and facilitating personal wellness techniques, including mindfulness breathing, meditation, and relaxation. Lorene and Vonnie, thank you for being here. Can you provide us an overview of the training process of becoming a Wellbeing Ambassador?
Thank you, Bianca. I will start with the beginning steps. This is where an organization will submit the names of interested volunteers that are interested in the Wellbeing Ambassador program. The volunteers then go through an interview process. The company then selects the final volunteers and they go into a 12-hour training. The company can choose this 12-hour training, whether it's on-site or through virtual training, as well as a blended model where we have recorded modules for 6 hours of training, and then we do the virtual or on-site support for the live 6 hours of training as well. So these are 2 different options that organizations can choose.
Thank you, Bianca. Just to indicate that we basically combine theory with practice, and we have interactive group sessions in the face-to-face modules, including the virtual sessions. The entire model is based on experiential learning through role plays with scenarios, and of course, highly interactive and very engaging.
Thank you both for that. Now, Vonnie, what qualities would you say make a successful Wellbeing Ambassador candidate?
Bianca, it's basically somebody who has an awareness of mental well-being and perhaps some previous training, which is not necessarily a compulsory entry requirement. Very often people are just the go-to person for employees in a work environment. So we're looking for those people in the company as well. We're looking for people who are willing to volunteer as a mental health ambassador and, of course, has the time to manage this voluntary support to colleagues in addition to their usual role at the office or on site. Sometimes we basically also look at some of the reasons for them wanting to become a mental health ambassador. And remember that it's a very groundbreaking role. So the skills that they bring to the role, and that will really allow them to advocate for people whilst being in partnership with other staff members is absolutely critical in this process. They need to be people's persons. Very empathetic, willing and able to listen to others without judgment, and of course have a knowledge of and be sensitive to the varying cultures and diversity in general, and of course the ability to maintain confidentiality unless the circumstances are life-threatening. The ability to also use their lived experience to support others without being prescriptive or giving directives. Somebody who's compassionate and able to show this compassion And most of all, somebody who focuses on their self-care so that they're able to reach out and provide the support. Somebody who has a support system themselves to help them through helping others. And of course, able to manage their own stress levels and their own energy gains and energy drains as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Vani. Now, Laureen, what key topics would you say are included in the training for Wellbeing ambassadors?
Well, the first one we start off with is understanding their role of being a well-being ambassador. So, for example, one of the key components is they don't just go up and approach people. They let people come to them. So I oftentimes say that as a well-being ambassador, you may have one of your colleagues come up and say, you know, so-and-so really needs to talk to somebody. You need to go and talk to them. No, the well-being ambassador is there to have people approach them. They just don't go randomly, approach other people. So that's a key component of the role. I also talk about the different hats they may wear. They may wear, they're a manager hat or an HR hat or whatever their job title is. That's one hat. But talk about the hats of what does a well-being ambassador mean. It can be different. So we really explore the key responsibilities within that position, as well as the resources to support them. The other part that we spend a lot of time on is just a general overview of understanding what mental health is. And then some of the most common different mental health disorders, such as depression and anxiety. We also have them understand the impact of their own workplace environment, help identify some of the potential psychosocial risks within their workplace. And my favorite portion, and I think their favorite portion too, is we go through role plays. We do a lot of role plays on how to hold these sensitive conversations. And I just did a training last month, and I had a person who was very, very nervous. And they share that, in their country, they really don't even talk much about counseling or mental health. And he's never had this conversation before. But when we got to the role play part, which is really kind of near the end of the training, I got a chance to listen to him doing the role play. And fantastic job. It was probably one of the best role play scenarios that I have ever heard. And it was so exciting to see this person go from being very nervous and very unsure to doing such a comfortable and excellent job of providing support to his colleagues. So we really kind of do the role plays at the end because we like to kind of give them a lot more confidence and experience and examples, but we spend a lot of time role playing. We also talk about boundaries and how to stay in that zone of helpfulness, as well as very important to respond in a crisis situation. So we review protocol and talk about what to do if there is a crisis. And then we end with talking about managing your own self-care, as well as just generally how to support others in prioritizing their self-care as well.
Now, Vani, can you let us know what nuances do you take into account when implementing the training material?
Thank you, Bianca. We basically hold preparatory sessions with the HR or people's team managers and executives. We really get to obtain an understanding of the region that we're working with, the local or cultural perceptions on mental health, also perspectives of people and the labor force on mental health, whether it is something people talk about openly or it is a very sensitive or vulnerable subject. We also focus on the use of terminology within the company. For example, people's team manager instead of human resources manager. And of course, the use of gender neutral terms within the company. So we also need to understand the laws of the country. For example, in some countries, there is a law that incarcerates people who attempt suicide. So in our directive and support on how to deal with that particular scenario, we have to be sensitive to the law of the country. The culture in some countries is to also first include family members in the discussions without pursuing the discussion to its end with the individual who's the employee. So we, in a very sensitive manner, have to introduce the process of facilitating an action plan that is comfortable for the person being supported, rather than what is culturally the most convenient approach to take. The interventions are implemented with these sensitivities in mind and, of course, has an improved impact on the recipients.
Thank you for that, Vani. Now, Lorene, can you talk to us about the ongoing support that the Wellbeing Ambassadors receive?
Yes, I can. So I'm currently involved in supporting several organizations for ongoing support. So many times companies will identify an internal person who is my contact person, and we talk about different subjects that we can present. This can be on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, where I meet them with the ambassadors, and some of the topics we can talk about are emotional intelligence, understanding risk. We oftentimes will do even additional role plays. We recently did one. They wanted a little bit more around risk situations, so we spent an hour doing additional role plays. The other thing that we do is have time to discuss situations that they've been involved in. Maybe someone came up to them regarding a domestic violence situation, and we can talk about that. We actually had that happen, and then as a result, this organization then said, let's have a training topic on domestic violence. So it's really offering that additional support to the organizations, and also gives the ambassadors a chance to just come together and talk about some of their common experiences, as well as then we encourage them to access the additional resources. We have a manager assist through the Employee Assistance Program. So the Wellbeing Ambassadors can call in and they can speak to a knowledgeable clinician to talk about a situation maybe they're uncertain of, or maybe they need resources. They're from a country and they're not sure of if that country has a mobile crisis unit or what additional resources on mental health. The manager assist can assist any ambassador to locate sort of additional resources to help support them. We also have an ambassador resource center library where we have a lot of tip sheets and articles and information on a variety of topics that the ambassadors have access to as well.
Great. Thank you for that, Lorene. Now, this question is for the both of you. We can start with Vani. Can you give us any additional comments and thoughts on, your dealings with the ambassador program and so forth?
It is a dynamic and robust intervention that is a life-changing experience for each ambassador that attends. The training basically provides mental health ambassadors with the confidence, the knowledge and skills to have a conversation with a colleague requiring support in order to signpost them, of course, to the relevant resources. Most of all, it is helping people to help others make life-changing decisions for themselves and to reach out for support. So the organizational impact is, needless to say, far-reaching. In addition, through WPO consulting, there's the option of analyzing psychosocial risks on site prior to the training. So many share their personal experience of dealing with trauma, stress, anxiety, depression, and or mental illness during the intervention because they find it to be a very safe space where confidentiality is maintained. So due to their personal experience, mental health ambassadors really want to reach out and support others. They also find that supporting others is very therapeutic for themselves.
Yes, I want to echo on what Vani said because I agree as well. We really see, just as I said, it's not only for skill sets that they learn in their, as a professional, in their life or as a colleague to colleague, it is applicable within their own lives as well, whether it's family, friends, neighbors, in their community. These are, I think, important life skill sets that they're learning in terms of communication and listening and just how to support, other people. I oftentimes say never underestimate the impact of being a good listener. Listening without judgment, listening with compassion, listening with empathy. Sometimes giving someone the gift of listening can be the most powerful gift you can give someone. And we have seen where it has actually saved lives. I just did a couple months ago, met with the group and they were sharing their stories of where they actually felt this had that much of a significant impact. And so you just never know when you're talking to somebody and maybe one of their dark moments, and it can just really get them the support that they need. So I'm very proud of the work that organizations have committed to with the program and excited on how we can continue to support them.
Awesome. Thank you both for that. If you want to learn more about the Wellbeing Ambassador Program, please visit consulting.workplaceoptions.com, or you can email us directly at wpoglobalconsulting@workplaceoptions.com. I want to thank you, Vonnie and Lorene, again for being with us today, and to all of our listeners, until next time, take care.